now, we're talking a little bit around billing and master catalogs. I think we're going to get quite technical here, aren't we, Kai?
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to make sure when we talked about these three different challenges is I wasn't talking about more or less the same thing, just pitched slightly differently. These are three very big challenges that we see with the channel. Now, we talked about entitlements, we talked about offers, and we talked about upgrades and downgrades and bundling and unbundling. But now we're going to talk about the other part of the channel. So we've just split, and we've got the billing now on the one side, and we've got the resellers now taking after the billing. Now, as previously, we're going to start with direct to consumer. So let's imagine ourselves as the content provider. We've got our product catalog. It's not going to need to be the biggest product catalog unless we've got a huge catalog of products and product tiers. So if we think about some of the, even to the likes of Amazon's and Google's and things like that, the number of products they have is in the single digits or low tens at most, right? So we're not talking about a huge product catalog. So we're probably going to go with an off-the-shelf e-commerce or a subscription package that's relatively simple to manage your product being delivered direct to consumer. The product's got a billing life cycle, and if it changes price, you're the one making that change and rolling that out. If we change the offers, again, you're the one making that change, we're the one making that change and rolling that out in our catalog.
What about in the channel?
Yeah, so that then builds that we've got to now imagine ourselves as the resellers. Again, we now, because we've split that billing relationship, we've now got the reseller being responsible for that billing part of it. So we've now got already our catalog of first-party products. And so we're going to add to it the catalog of third-party products, because we're billing on behalf of. So we need to know what all those products are in order to be able to bill for them and so on. So we've now got to manage two catalogs. But it's only two catalogs if the channel is just one.
I was going to say, because I've spoken to a few telcos where they've got fixed line, they've got broadband, they've got mobile, they've even got TV. So they're a triple or quad play. How does that look?
That's right. So that just builds, again, the complication that you've got to cater for. So now you've not got potentially, again, depending on how the system behaves in the resellers, but you've got multiple product catalogs, potentially multiple billing engines to be able to all manage those things. But
it feels stressful. Starting to feel stressful.
But there's another one to add to it, right? Because we're not talking about a single content provider, are we? What we're talking about is growing that, right? So we're not talking, we're saying more than, let's say more than 10. Well, all of a sudden we've got 10 product catalogs from third-party stuff, and I've got a number of product catalogs for my first-party things. This becomes incredibly complicated to manage. So it looks a bit like that. So where we want to think about is, if you're in for a lot of effort in this situation into your back office. So from a telco, we would talk about the BSS and the OSS. You've got a lot of effort involved and regular effort in order to give the flexibility and choice to the end consumers about the offers that we provide. So here, if you choose DIY, you might build this separately, or you might build it into your BSS OSS. But if you have to make sure, because where duplication comes and keeping things in sync arrive, it leads to huge amounts of reconciliation, managing disputes, and effort, general effort to keep everything in sync. And that is today's challenge 3. I'm going to define 5 things. And the reason I'm going to define these 5 things is it becomes really important to understand these 5 things as separate items. And that's what gives you the flexibility and the choice and the ability to be able to handle this master catalog problem. So an entitlement is a right or a privilege granted to a person or an organization to access a product. So we would talk about an entitlement to Netflix standard. And that product, therefore, is the Netflix standard piece. So the right of access to a product. So that's where a product is. It's that tangible or intangible digital or physical product. The offer then, and this is where we talk about offers in the channel, the offer is the proposal to the customer, to the end consumer, of providing that product at a price. or a set of terms, which is the billing piece. So the billing model and life cycle then is the type of billing model, the type of offer that is offered, that is given to the consumer, and how they should pay for it. And then finally, the charging piece is the collecting the actual payment for that offer.
Now, I don't see subscription on there. Is that purposeful or?
Yeah, so it's one of these things that's come up in our constant conversations with the customers. We're actually seeing, despite the heavy use of subscriptions, when we talk about the subscription economy and the size of the market and those sort of things, when we're actually starting to talk to our customers and prospects, we're actually starting to see less and less use of the word subscription, because subscription is just a type of billing model. And what we're starting to see, because subscriptions become so big, is that our partners are starting to experiment with different business models, whether that's pay-per-views or add-ons or transaction entitlements that you buy and keep forever and things like that. All of those things fit under this same model, but they're not actually really subscriptions anymore. So all of this, so we kind of don't use it as much. We still use it synonymously a little bit with billing and offer, but we keep those things a little bit separate. So what that allows us to do is that Bango is now able to think about those things separately and flexibly. And so let's be honest, every telco and every reseller has its own system, and every content provider also has its own system. So when we start thinking about deploying this channel capability in and using DVM in order to be able to facilitate that, we find that the flexibility and the modularity of DVM drives the right behavior. So no more keeping things in sync, no more huge reconciliation efforts. So we have what we call our DVM core, where we manage the entitlement, and we purely manage the entitlement on behalf of the reseller. In that case, the reseller catalog is holding all the price information, the billing information that happens, and it sends itself to the charge, to the billing agent, to the consumer. Additionally, when we have the conversations with customers, Bango also offers the optional module of a managed billing and charging, which allows the charge to actually be handled by Bango. So again, the DVM is holding the price information, the offer information, and the ability to charge through the billing engine to that consumer. So what you'll see is that at no point are we talking about maintaining that price in both places. It's in one place or the other. And that flexibility of Bango to sort of configure it in both ways allows our partners to not be left with a huge reconciliation task and a huge effort to keep things in sync.
I say avoiding the duplication, like you mentioned.
It's just avoiding the effort of keeping everything in sync and thinking about who is the master all the time.